Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. Today I'm going to be sharing with you another palette from my Primark haul, and this time it's called the PS Violet Mist palette. So exactly the same price, it was £4, exactly the same as in it comes in a card package or packaging. So it looks like that, again very slim line. On the back, again, you have the ingredients, and this is what you can expect in here. So again, as with the other one, I'll just refresh your memory and put these side by side in a moment. But they are all on the back of, obviously, of what you can expect, but also you have the names on the back here, so underneath the shade. I did struggle slightly because I would prefer to be able to look at the shade, describe the shade, and then have the name underneath. I found it a little bit difficult because some of these shades are not very shimmery. They look fantastic in the palette, and sometimes I have to refresh my memory. So I'm opening it, I'm looking at the back. So I would prefer, I think, to have the names on the palette itself. So it doesn't have a mirror. And of course the front, so how it looks on the front with the name translates onto the inside. So you just had a sneak peek of the palette, and here it is. So this one, you have got dusty pinks, you've got mauves, you've got that beautiful violet shade there, you've got greys, you've got some beautiful shimmers again in here. I already have my thoughts about a lot of the shades within this palette because I've swatched them, and of course I have applied some of the shades onto my eye. So already I have my thoughts about these. So what I'm going to do is just refresh your memory and show you the palette. So I shared with you a video for this one yesterday, and I'll link that down below. And I'm just going to open them up now and show you the inside. Not to drop the palettes. And this is what they look like. So the Nude Basics is on the top, and then the Violet Mist is on the bottom, the one that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I was so impressed with that Nude Basics yesterday, and those shimmers and the mattes in that one is just amazing, phenomenal. Really blown away by that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is share with you the swatches and get into the names of these shades. This one you're going to find it difficult to see. It's one of those matte cream shades, but it is very, very similar to my skin tone, and it's called Flawless. So obviously it's going to be really good for setting your base and perhaps blending out any eyeshadow. You can certainly use cream matte shades for that as well. So that's called Flawless. Then we move on to Mellow Musk, which is this one. Now this one, it looks matte, doesn't it? And it looks matte in the palette. Let me just show you it again. So it's that one there, and I thought that one would be beautiful for going in the transitional area. But, and I put it all over that area, I thought, why is my eye, it looks like I put shimmer on my eye, and I had. That shade is actually shimmery, but it's a beautiful colour, and it also swatches beautifully as well. So that one is Mellow Musk. The next one is Hazy Lilac, and it's that one there. Also a matte. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is a matte. So that one is a matte lilac shade, beautiful. The next one is called Mystic Falls, and it's your first intense shimmer. So it's that one there. Then we move on to Black Plum, which is again another shimmer shade. This one looks, and I'll just show you what it looks like in the palette, because I actually thought that I had swatched one of these greys. And when I looked at it, I thought, wow, I expected it to be more intense than what it is on my arm. It's one of those shimmers that really shines within the palette. But then when I swatched it, it's not as intense as perhaps this one. And it's a duochrome, so it's grey with a purple shift, or perhaps it's purple with a grey shift. It's that kind of a shade, but it's not as intense swatched as I expected it to be. The next one is called Dark Mystery, and it's a shimmery grey. And then we move on to the second row. So we start off with Secrecy, which is a matte. It's quite a cool brown, and it's like a greyish colour, I suppose. So that's Secrecy. Then we move on to another intense shimmer called Honeymoon. Beautiful. Then we have Twilight, which is this one here. That is definitely matte. Then we have that intense violet colour called Violet Dawn, which is that one there. So that's a matte shade. Then we have Midnight Kiss. Now this is one of those black shades that has a lot of glitter in it, and I think there's a trend in palettes now to perhaps try and liven up a black shade. It just seems a little bit pointless to me to add glitter to a black shade and that glitter does not translate onto that shade. When I swatched it, you can see a little bit of glitter in there, but it just looks like a matte black to me, and I would prefer the glitter not to be in there. I mean, I don't use black a great deal, but when I do, I mean, if you're going to put a black in here, make it a matte black. I just don't see the point of adding glitter. Usually with those glitters within black shades, they usually don't translate. You can't see it on the eye, and you can hardly see it on the swatch actually. Let me just do a close up. There's only a tiny little bit of glitter perhaps on that starting point there. So yeah, not particularly keen on that shade. And then we have Galactic Sky, which is that grey tone there. I think that one, I mean, obviously if you like a black, that is absolutely fine. But I think for me, those three last shades in the palette, I would have preferred perhaps some more purple tones, some more transitional shades. The thing is, when I purchase a palette, I'm looking for three things. I want a matte transitional shade, so a lighter tone. I then want a deeper tone, to a little bit deeper than the transitional shade to deepen out the outer V area. And then I want a nice shimmer. So in a palette, obviously they're going to have more transitional shades, more of the deeper tones and more shimmer shades. But they are the three kind of shades I'm looking for within a palette that is going to make, you know, an eye look for me, and it makes a palette cohesive for me. So I was disappointed to find that this one here, because I thought this is going to be my transitional shade, this is going to deepen it up slightly, this one is going to add a little bit of depth, and then I've got a lot of shimmers to choose from. So because this was so shimmery, I then had to then go in with this shade over the top, this to deepen it up. And although I usually go for the three shades, you know, I thought I had two transitional shades to choose from, and I don't know, it just, that shade there really disappointed me. I couldn't believe actually how shimmery it looked on the eye. I don't know, it just looked like a full-on shimmer, and it looks so matte in the pan, so it did disappoint me. But now what I'm going to do exactly what I did with this eye, that shimmery stroke, or should I say that matte stroke shimmery shade. I'm going to apply everything exactly the same as I did, so that you can see why I then chose the next shade, and so on and so on. So we're going to start off with that shade, which is called Mellow Musk, and of course I'm going to be using one of my Primark PS eye contour brushes. So I'm going to dip into that. And even when I put my brush in, I still couldn't see that it had a shimmer in it. And I sort of looked, I had to do a double take. Did I go into another pan? Did I mistakenly go into the one below? Because it still doesn't look shimmery at all. Let me show you. the lights, there we go. It just doesn't look shimmery. It's such a very strange shade. Of course, I've already primed my eyes with the Revolution Pro Eye Elements in Central, and I'm just going to now pop this in the crease. So I'm going to just take that up. Now initially I actually thought just then, I thought, wow, did I really go into another shade? Because it's not until you start blending it out and it actually, when it goes on purple as well. So even though it looks like a beautiful dusky rose kind of a shade like that, it actually looks purple on the eye. And it's not until you start blending it in that that shimmer comes out. It actually looks matte to start with. So, but I want to obviously do everything the same because I want to get the same eye look on this side. So it looks more lilac. It's got a lot of shimmer to it. It's aged my eye at least 10, 15 years. I don't have any lines on my eyelid at all. But obviously the way your skin naturally looks, we do have certain lines on skin, however old you are, and this shimmer shade has just highlighted my skin, and it just looks like I've aged. I'm not happy with that shade at all. I really don't like it, but of course I wanted to reapply it so that I could explain to you my thoughts about that shade. So then I went in with, and let me just turn this over, I went in with, is it called Honeymoon? No, it's not called Honeymoon, it's called Twilight. And it is this shade here, so this one here. So I then picked up some of that, and that is definitely a matte shade, but it's very greyish. It's like a grey colour with some lilac to it. So I then went over that. What it does do, it really does bring that lilac tone out, like that. So I've gone over that a little bit to try and take away some of that shimmer. And then I went in with the very first shade on the second row called Secrecy, which is this one here, so Secrecy. And it really does look, and I was a little bit concerned because I don't usually use grey tones, but I went in with that and it did work very, very well to deepen out this area and give me a little bit of definition. Because that shade is so shiny, you need some definition put back in there because the light is bouncing off it. I mean, I could have obviously wiped it off and then started again and told you, that this, and gone in with the matte shades and so on, but I really like to tell you exactly what I think about a palette and what I'm looking for in a palette and why perhaps that palette hasn't worked for me. So that's what I'm going to do with this palette. I like to be as transparent as I possibly can. So I've just deepened that up, and that shade really does work beautifully with the other tones that are already on the eye. So really, really like that. Then what I did was, because I've had to now add that grey tone, I felt that I'd lost some of that rosiness, that lilac tone that I really wanted to incorporate into this look. So I then went in with that really bright purple tone called Violet Dawn, and it is that one there on the bottom row. So I've now changed to one of my next eye brushes, that angled one, because I want to put it underneath the eye, but I don't want it to be really, really close to the actual lash line. I want to blend it out. So I'm just going to then put that underneath, and I had to stamp it on first of all. and then just blend it through very, very slightly, because I found the more that I actually blended that shade, the more that the pigmentation was lost. You can see on this side the pigmentation has gone a little bit, so I'm just going to actually put a little bit more on there. I was really looking forward to this palette. When I looked at it, it's very rare that I find a lot of colours that I really like within a colour story, for example, that's named Violet Mist, as this one is. I really like the fact that there was rosy tones in here and purples, and so that's why I'm so disappointed by that first shade, and you know, I'm disappointed really by the fact that if I blended this across, you know, I've had to stamp it on the eye, the pigmentation would be totally lost. There's also another disappointment within this palette as well, and I think because I'd used the Nude Basics yesterday and was so impressed with that eye look, and I know a lot of you really enjoyed that eye look as well, and a lot of you have told me that you're heading to Primark very soon to pick up and look at these palettes, this collection. So I was really excited about trying out this palette today, only to find that you know, I'm actually quite disappointed with how it's performing. So this is the next shade that I went in with, and it is Mystic Falls, and it is this one on the top row there, that one there. So I've got it upside down obviously for ease of handling it, but it's that one there, and I thought I really want to keep to the purple theme, so I went in with my finger, and when you swatch it, it's very, very thin. It doesn't feel to me like the shimmers that I shared with you yesterday in the Nude Basics palette. They seemed really, really stunning. So anyway, I'm going to put this one on the eyelid. I've rubbed my finger in there quite a lot to get this pigmentation, and I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel like the shimmers from yesterday's palette, the Nude Basics. It feels a little bit dry. I can't really describe it. When I put my finger in it first actually to do the swatches, it felt like it had chunks of glitter in there, but it doesn't. It just feels, well, it doesn't feel as consistent as the others, put it like that, I suppose. It doesn't feel consistent. I didn't really like it on the eye, so what I did was I then went in with the other shimmer, which is called Honeymoon, which is the second one along there. I thought I'd try that and see how I got on, and I must admit the feel of Honeymoon compared to Violet Dawn, is it Violet Dawn? Mystic Falls, I think. Yeah, Mystic Falls. So I'm getting confused because you have to. It's very difficult anyway. Like I said, I wish the names were underneath the shades. It would make it so much easier. So anyway, I've now got the shade Honeymoon on my finger, and I'm just going to go over it, and immediately I can feel the difference. It's smoother. It doesn't feel so dry, so bitty, so chunky, I suppose, even though there's no chunks of glitter in that first one. So yeah, not very impressed with the shades as much as with the Nude Basics. Now what I'm going to do, I'm getting one of my Wilko flat brushes. I'm just going to get that shade on my brush. So the last shade, which was Honeymoon, and I'm just going to wet it as well, and of course I'm using the Obsession Pigment Boost Fixing Spray, and I'm just going to apply a little bit wet. What I'm a little bit concerned about is that now I've put 3 layers on here, what it's going to do is rub off, so I just wanted to wet it a little bit to ensure that that doesn't happen. Now I'm just getting a bit more of the same shade, so Honeymoon, and just go around the inner corner. Like that. Absolutely beautiful. better. Okay, so that's the eyeshadow complete. And I think what I'll do is I'll go through the shades what I like after I've just applied my eyeliner and my mascara. For anyone that is new to my channel, I list all of the makeup that I've worn in that particular video on every single video down below in the description section. So every little bit of makeup that I have got on my face will be listed down below so that you are aware of what makeup that I'm wearing. I get still quite a few comments about, you know, what eyeliner am I using, you know, what am I using? It's all down below because I find it very frustrating watching a video, loving, say, for example, a lipstick and it not being listed. So that's why I always list everything that I'm using. So this is the Revolution HD Smoky Liner. It is in the shade black. It's perfect for me. It works. It stays on all day, basically. And like I say, everything will be listed down below for you. I'm just putting on my mascara, which is, as always, the Primark PS Amplif-eyed mascara, which I absolutely love. The earrings are also from, whoops, where did that come from? Paper or something. I don't know where all these stickers are coming from. Anyway, the earrings also were from Primark. I've probably had that stuck in my hair the whole time. If I have, apologies. It's going to be one of those days today, isn't it? My eyeshadow's not gone how I wanted it. It does look nice, I must say. The finished result looks nice. But if I could swatch it, there was no palettes in the store to swatch. So I just had to go by my first impressions of the palette. And when I opened it, it looked phenomenal. It looked amazing. And as I mentioned to somebody in the comments in yesterday's video, if you see something in Primark, you have to get it because most of the time you can return to the store and it will be gone. So I thought I'm going to grab both and thinking that this one was going to be my favourite out of the two palettes. But in fact, I really don't like this palette. I do not like that shade there. That one that looks matte that isn't. It's really shimmery. It will look beautiful on the lid, but you know, it just looks shimmery and it looks matte. And even when you first place it on the actual eye, it still looks matte. And then when you start blending it out, it turns lilac and it then goes into a very, very shimmery shade. So I'm not sure if I would use that again. Another shade that disappointed me was this one here. It looks beautiful. It looks very much like this one. You know, like the pictures of the Nude Basics palette that I put on Instagram. The shimmers really looked standout shades, but that one, I do not like that shade there at all. It is very bitty. It's very dry. It feels very chunky, even though there's no chunks of glitter in there at all. So I'm not that keen on that one. I'm also not keen on black shades, black matte shades with glitter in it. I just don't see the point of it. I would prefer it just to be black and matte because the glitter, there's not, the glitter doesn't stay within those matte shades at all. Shades that I really did enjoy, I really like this shimmer here, and I really surprised myself by liking this shade here. I thought that this one was just going to be, they were going to be similar, but yeah, I really liked that one there, and I really also like this one here. So I suppose, you know, as with every makeup palette that we purchase, you know, especially when we purchase online or, you know, if there's no testers, we are taking a risk with our money. And I must say that out of the two, I really love this one, the Nude Basics. If I had to recommend one of these palettes, this one would be the one that I would recommend. Also, there was only one shade in the Nude Basics palette that really didn't swatch that well, and it was this one here. It did go on the eye okay, but it just didn't swatch very well. What I will say is that in the Violet Mist palette, there was a lot more that didn't swatch well. A lot more. So perhaps it's just that it's, you know, the consistency is not there. I'll just leave you with the swatches as I always do, so you can see what I mean. That one there didn't swatch that well, that one there didn't swatch that well either. We've got that shimmery shade there. I didn't like that. That was that lilac shimmer. This is the one, and even, I mean, I can't get it any more close up on the screen, but it just looks like a dusty rose, and there's no shimmer in it, but it is a very, very shimmery shade, and it's not until you brush it on the eye and really blend it, try and blend it in, turns lilac, and you know, it's shimmery. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on which of these palettes you may be picking up. Are you still going to try the Violet Mist one? I mean, for £4 it's certainly worth a gamble, but you know, this one definitely left me disappointed, and the Nude Basics is going to be on the top of my tabletop, and I will be using that one more and more. I'm really sorry about the stickers. I don't know how long I've had that one stuck in my hair or where it came from, but that's how it goes sometimes. It's going to be one of those days, as I mentioned. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the palette. Love to hear your thoughts on the eye look. What are your thoughts on that? And of course, if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. But as always, until next time, which will be of course tomorrow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.